Australia seems to be in the middle of a widespread economic resurgence as major indicators have been showing considerable improvement in recent months. The revival is also evident in the labour market, which is slowly recouping for the pre-pandemic stage. ABS data reveals that the year 2021 ended with a record low unemployment rate, followed by a rise in wages, depicting an overall switch to better working conditions. Recently, the ABS also released estimates of the average weekly ordinary time earnings for full-time adults, which increased 2.1% in November. The total weekly earnings for all types of employees surged 3.8% over the year, reaching an average of 1.3K. The results came shortly after the recent release of wage price index data for the December period. And according to the experts, the earnings data is in line with the large annual increase of 2.3% observed in the wage price index in December. Though the current data is for mid-November, it demonstrates the significant economic turnaround that took shape during the end of 2021. Average weekly ordinary time earnings for full-time adults in the public sector took a steeper path upwards than the private sector earnings. This trend defied the pattern observed in the wage price index data, in which private sector wages were relatively higher. Among all industries, weekly earnings in the mining sector were significantly higher than other industries, in which full-time workers were getting paid 2.6K on average. However, experts highlighted an upward pressure on the average full-time earnings over the last 6 months, specifically in some higher-paying industries, including construction, information media, and telecommunications, as well as financial services. Job ads tumble while Australia remains in dire need of skilled and unskilled workers. Plus, full-time female workers saw a larger uptick in weekly wages than males over the 6 months to November 2021. More precisely, average weekly ordinary time earnings from females rose by 1% to 1.5K, higher than those for males, 0.5% up to 1.8. But despite the high jump, wages for females lag behind those of males. And the previously released hourly earnings data showed that men earned more than women in all occupational groups. Meanwhile, the average weekly ordinary time earnings for full-time employees were higher in the ACT than all other states, standing at 1.9K. However, weekly earnings were the lowest in Tasmania and in South Australia, both at 1.5K. And while the data is a plus for workers, inflationary pressures building in the backdrop might be raining on the parade. Inflation has been soaring high in Australia, largely because of international factors. And of course, little can be done domestically to help the nation come out of an inflationary spell in the long term. All in all, the recent growth in wages does not match up to the rise in inflation. More updates to follow. I'm Holly Shields for Kalkine Media.